Good afternoon, Greg here. So, today was a bit of a surprise. Maybe it shouldn't have been, just based on the erratic price action that's been going on here for, I guess, a few months here, where it started up there. And we'll see if this just turns out to be a long consolidation. I see parts of this that would certainly suggest so. Had this corrective move down, lower highs, lower lows. And then there was this large move up. The depth of the retracement taking out these pivot highs obviously was bullish. Then just the erraticness of a gap down that gets bought, that was into the gap fill area. That created a pivot. Resistance up there. It was a Friday before last, which gapped down, that got bought. Then the move up, and we've dealt with tariffs this, maybe not, different news. The reversal last Friday, which looked like maybe we'd get a replay of the same, with a gap down. Well, no, trick or treat kind of gap up near the top of the red bar and just consolidating sideways. And so far, just a trading range, but a bit different this time in that, it's obviously the gap up, which I mentioned, and a wide range bar. And so far, consolidating at resistance, going sideways at the top of the wide range bar. And this resistance area, where in the previous two times it got up there, there was a very negative reaction and prices moving down. So now it's going sideways. We refer to it as bullish price action. Sometimes we call it absorbing supply. Many say, well, I don't understand absorbing supply. What does that mean? Well, all of our concepts are really common sense. Supply, resistance, support, demand, and prices coming up to resistance supply, which requires demand. And as it comes up there, demand increases, meaning it goes sideways versus collapsing again. So the price action is bullish for the moment, but ultimately there has to be confirmation where prices break out above that resistance area. And then the next question is, well, where's it going to go? Well, based on all of this consolidation, we would assume if it clears here, it makes new all-time highs. Yet to be seen. But that's the bottom line. So now as we look at other markets, as we always do, we look at the S&Ps, just sideways, just kind of a big mess, up and down, but somewhat similar. The diamonds, which, to me is not to me, it is, a matter of fact, forming an M top. But there's no confirmation. Same as if we were to see a head and shoulders top. Ultimately, there's got to be confirmation. The crazy part of this market is when any crazy price action was, we had this kind of, head and shoulders top here, and then it cracks below the lows and then springs right back up again. That was a different news item. The Russell here, which is improving, came into the gap fill down here, and now it's coming up to the pivot of resistance on the 65-minute. It's been grinding higher. And so ultimately, can it move up and can it take out this resistance? Financials, slowing in momentum. How do we define slowing in momentum? Well, we define that by looking at a strong move. Strong move, typically get a pullback. And then the next move up is small compared to the prior move, and you get a turn in the area of the prior pivot. Now, that doesn't negate the trend, but since this has now made a new high, if it trades below that pivot, it's violated this uptrend. Common sense. All right. Interest rates just hang in here. Will they move up, which should have a negative effect on the markets, just an inside day? Will they break lower tomorrow, which interest rates going down should help the market, and today's bullish price action help it follow through. So keep an eye on interest rates. Set an alert down there. Semiconductors, overall just a giant mess, but it gapped up, potentially negating a red bar. And if it can start moving up, this has got a void up above here. Now, this is decent price action. Yeah, it's got resistance here, but if we just kind of forget this and look at the bullish 180, if it can take that out, it suggests a move higher. And some others don't look so great, but look, I would think any of these would have the potential to move up if the markets are moving higher. Maybe not Intel. It's unloved. NVIDIA's been moving up already, kind of using some of the gas in the tank, that analogy, where it's coming up to resistance. AMD, that gap down on earnings. So far, it's holding here for the moment. And you can look through some others. Some look better and some don't. Industrials, don't love that. Spiders, we looked at. Consumer discretionary. This is just kind of hanging here. Whether that will break below these lows or whether they're going to move up. McDonald's having a great day today. There's a bottoming pattern. Best Buy. Earnings are in March. Nike's just dead money. Again, we look through these and see what ideas we can come up with. And what's in here, what's doing terribly today? Well, debt got destroyed. That's coming down to support. And so we discussed this, Dan and I think in the green room, was that the 200 was there, but I thought, hey, there's nothing to the left. It's probably not going to hold. It certainly could have. It tried to. It's an obvious reference point, but now it's coming down. It looks like it'll come to that gap fill. And so when it gets down here and stabilizes, we'll look for put spreads. It won't be a directional. LVS weak. And again, looking through some others. Materials not doing anything. Consumer services just kind of flatlining in an uptrend. Staples doing nothing. Utilities, let's see. If interest rates move down, these should move up. And I'll be going through some of these later. Real estate will require interest rates to move up, and that's got room to move higher. Regional banks, not much of happening here today, unfortunately. Energy is doing pretty good. And look, when we look at a watch list of percentage gainers and we look at the chart, so ultimately we see money flow positive on the day or negative on the day. And then we look at the charts to see, do they form some type of reversal or signal to take advantage of? And this might be a measured move higher, negating this red bar and at least coming into the gap fill. And then we look at the stocks within the sector. Transports, there's nothing there to go on. IWM I covered. And so we'll see what things go here, how we end the day. And those stocks or indices that end the day well would suggest a move higher. And then tomorrow, we've got the Fed chairman speaking at 10 o'clock. So everybody will be listening with both ears to see what he has to say about interest rates. And it'll be probably more of the same, the hesitation to follow through, just based on the uncertainty of news, tariffs, wars, so on and so forth. And we'll deal with it. And at some point it'll end. As always, if you have questions, email us, Greg and Dan at Master Trader.